It's a beautiful night outside, but inside, it's a great night to talk football. Or as Cliff said literally seconds ago, any night's a great night to talk football. And I thought of like where I was going to start this conversation. And obviously, if you remember the last time you and I spoke about 6 weeks ago, which week 1 of the season, can you believe that? It's already week 7. Yeah,
Seven.
we're already at week 7. And last time we had a somber note to this show because of everything Milt Steagle's going with through his son Chase.
Mm-hmm.
But today it's like turning a new leaf because he announced that, hey, Friday night I'm going to be in Winnipeg with the panel. So it's just one of those like nice full circle moments. How like last time we spoke, it was like, just a somber mood with the unspeakable tragedy going on. Now it's, hey, you know what? He's coming back. He's doing what he loves. Obviously, he's going to have a lot on his plate, but it's great to see.
Yeah, and the fact that he's going to be back in Winnipeg, of course, which again is synonymous with Milt Steagle, is as you talked about, like one of those serendipitous moments. And I mean, I know he's going to be jacked for it. I know he's going to be excited to get back doing what he loves, and the fact that he's going to be doing it in Winnipeg, a place where ultimately he became a part of the CFL universe and became such a big part of not just Winnipeg but the Canadian Football League itself. Man, I tell you, it's going to be exciting. Like, even if you're not a Bombers fan, I think you're going to want to tune into the TSN broadcast just to see Milt back and the reaction that he's going to get from that Winnipeg faithful. I mean, I think it's going to be a very electric episode of Friday Night Football.
Electric emotions. I just think there's going to be like all like the elements to that. It's just the fact that it's in Winnipeg. Like if this was this game Friday night, it would still feel nice, but it's just the fact that it's in Winnipeg is that like, cherry on top of the sundae, if you will, of just a full circle feel good story.
100%.
Before we go CFL, there's actually something I wanted to talk to you about because I've recently discovered through Twitter who your NFL team is and that you're a Niners fan. One thing I wanted to ask you is just, hey, training camp's right around the corner. And I have my expectations on the Niners, but I'd rather hear it from the horse's mouth first of someone who is, I believe, faithful to the Bay is what the hashtag stands for.
That's right.
What are the expectations you have as a fan just for that team in 2025?
Oh. Last year was a bit of an outlier, unfortunately. I think injuries really caught up to the Niners. They didn't play their best football. I mean, they had moments, even though you've got so much talent on that team, it didn't work. They couldn't come together, and it was tough. I mean, I think they had that Super Bowl hangover kind of creep in, and it's funny. It's normally supposed to hit the winner of the Super Bowl, but no, in this case, it hit the non-winner of the Super Bowl. I hate using the term loser when it comes to the 49ers, but I guess that's what it is. And I remember saying to myself, watching them basically lose every game, basically the last, I think, 5 games they lost. And I made a little list, and I said, okay, if the 49ers do this, it'll be all worth this lousy season will have been all worth it. One of the things on that list, bring back Robert Saleh. You have never seen a happier person when they made the announcement that Robert Saleh was going to come back and be the D coordinator for the 49ers. I'm like, yes, thank God. Like, he never should have left, but you know what? I get it. You got to go try, see if you can, succeed elsewhere. But you know what? This team is built for him. He is built for this team. I mean, it is a perfect marriage as far as I'm concerned. And you know that everybody on that defense is amped to the hilt to have Robert Saleh back. And I'm amped to the hilt to have Robert Saleh back.
I know there's some guys keep going.
I was just going to say and also too, now with the contract situations of Brock Purdy, George Kittle, and Fred Warner sorted out. Okay. I mean, now we have a little bit of drama now, potentially, with Jawan Jennings. I'm like, oh, really? Can we just go through one freaking offseason without some sort of contract drama, without some sort of BS in that regards? But no, it's like, this is why we can't have nice things. But again, back to that list I was talking about. If you bring back Robert Saleh, get Brock Purdy under contract in a team-friendly deal, which they did, and you take advantage of this cupcake schedule that you're going to get because you had such a lousy year. Now you're going to be playing all the other lousy teams in the other divisions. To me, like, as far as I'm concerned, like, I look at this 49ers schedule, like, Oh, they're playing that. Wow. Oh, okay. They're playing a lot of the not so good teams, which is normal because the fourth place team in the NFC West will play the fourth place team in the NFC East, for example. Like, okay, we got this. And I look at the schedule. I think if everybody comes back, they're healthy, they're cohesive, ready to go, which I have no doubt in my mind they will be. I think the 49ers will be very much back in the conversation. They will be back in the playoff picture. And dare I say it, back where they should be, contending for a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I feel like they have the potential to be a force in the NFC. It's just what their rivals down the state coastline are doing as well last year really, I think, caught a lot of people by attention because people thought, hey, Rams taking a step back. Matt Stafford's questions were there. So I feel like right now in the NFC West, you have the 49ers who are, look, they've been the perennial team for like the last 5-6 years. The Rams who have a Super Bowl, same thing. They're always in that mix. Then you have the Seahawks and the Cardinals who have two huge question marks around them. The Seahawks of, hey, it's a new regime, it's a new quarterback. And then you have the Cardinals where it's, does Kyler Murray finally, put it all together to get the Cardinals over that hump? I know they went to the playoffs once, but that season we kind of learned was an outlier. They won a lot of games. Like you said, they had a cupcake schedule, won some games that, hey, you're supposed to win. But when you play the big boys is when you get into trouble. But going back to San Francisco, in an NFC that, look, there's a lot of unpredictability going into 2025. San Francisco is going to be in that mix because Detroit's going to be there. Philly's going to be there. But
Washington is a team that I'm really like. Don't sleep on the Commanders because they showed last year. I that's not a fluke. I think Jaden Daniels he's going to be give him another year or two, like really in control of that team. I think they can definitely be a Super Bowl contender as well. The way they sit,
they're going to be good. It's just for me, how is it now that you're no longer viewed as just, hey, here comes Washington? It's, oh, this is Washington. Hey, you're going to get more primetime games. You're getting more spotlight. There's going to be a bigger target on your back. That's how I want to know. How does Jaden Daniels handle that? But you still have, and you're probably going to hate me for saying this, I know last year wasn't good, but you still have the Dallas Cowboys that people I don't think are talking about too much just because, it's like you can't see the flag, but it's kind of like these guys where every year they think it's their year. But this offseason for them has been relatively quiet where it's like, hey, nothing's there, but they still went 7-10 with out Dak, so we'll see there. And then you have the Buccaneers who released some pretty goddamn cool uniforms today, and those white creamsicle reverses. Like, I was a fan of that. But yeah, going back to San Francisco.
And I'm also a big believer in Baker Mayfield as well. I think he got jobbed bad when he was with Cleveland and bounced around a little bit, but I think he's finally found his niche in Tampa. And again, that wasn't easy too, because especially after Tom Brady brings the Super Bowl to the Bay Area. Those are big shoes to fill, no matter what. Even if it wasn't the Tom Brady, for lack of a better expression. But I think Baker Mayfield has owned the position of quarterback in Tampa Bay, and I think they too are not a team to sleep on. I mean, I think that they definitely make some noise. I think they're like one or two pieces away from really truly being in that Super Bowl contender talk. But again, that's another team that's I think has potential to be sneaky good, and come playoff time can definitely make a lot of noise.
Yeah, I completely agree. And then going back to San Francisco, it's just one of those things where I think if everything kind of goes their way, if they stay healthy, they get the wins, you get new father, Christian McCaffrey, back to what he was in 2023. That's a team to worry about. Just my only concern is defensively, losing guys like Hufanga, losing Drake Greenlaw, but they did draft Michael Williams out of Georgia, who I really liked coming out of college. So, and with Robert Saleh there, they're going to put the right pieces together to succeed. It's just, what, San Francisco's to that team like a Dallas, where it's, everyone's worried about, it's, oh, what are the Eagles? What are the Lions? 49ers can just chill and do that thing. And then eventually it's kind of like, that meme where it's like, I think it's the Office meme where it's, I don't know, that's a blonde girl in white where it's just like, hi, oh my God, what are you? And then it's just like, that's the Niners kind of sneaking up on the rest of the NFC. But yeah, that was our quick 10-second NFL stuff. But folks, there'll be more NFL talk coming throughout the next few months. But going back to Montreal, just because, look, great start to the year. Obviously, you guys handed it to the Toronto Argonauts week 1. Did the same thing to Ottawa week 2. And then after that, it kind of just not unraveled, but there was kind of a couple bad losses. Davis Alexander getting hurt. Fisticuffs a flying, which I was jokingly saying, like, this game's got everything. It's got late second comebacks. It's got this, it's got a fight, it's got a broken tripod. It's just, I'm not too worried about the Alouettes. I think they're going to be fine. But has there been anything that you've seen where you're like, this is just, we need Davis Alexander back? Or is there a little bit more to it where it's like, hey, we got to fix this now, because if we don't fix it now, it can get worse later on?
I think the loss of Davis Alexander, the last 2 games, really hammered home the point that they made the right decision in going with him. Yeah. And again, nothing against Cody Fajardo. I got nothing but love for Cody Fajardo, but he couldn't have worked with Davis Alexander as a backup, and it would have been so tough. Not because there's anything wrong with Cody Fajardo as a quarterback. I still think
like Rourke and Adams last year in BC.
Yeah, that's it. It's 2 alphas, right? And nobody wants to concede, or nobody wants. Yeah, it's oil and water a little bit, and it's so funny because again, one can make the argument that Cody Fajardo helped the progression of Davis Alexander, along with quarterbacks in the past who have helped Davis Alexander. Cody Fajardo can definitely count himself as a mentor, as someone who showed him what it was like to drive the car, to be the leader of men. So I think deep down, Davis, I think, has a great appreciation for what Cody Fajardo brought to this Alouettes team and brought to him as a quarterback himself. But going forward with Davis being told that he's the man now and Cody's going to have to take a back seat, I just don't think that would have worked. And it would have been tough, especially too. God forbid Cody Fajardo comes in, plays lights out football. Everybody's going to be clamoring for him again. And then Davis is just going to be left wondering what the hell's going on. And I think with McLeod Bethel-Thompson taking over for those last 2 games, there's a huge difference. In fact, I even jokingly said, I think this just cemented Davis Alexander as most outstanding player from the East, because, again, I know the whole criteria of most outstanding versus most valuable player makes a big difference, because they always talk about when it comes to choosing a most valuable player, take that player and replace him with somebody else and see what the difference is. You got to see right there. And again, I'm not trying to put down McLeod Bethel-Thompson, but this team acts, looks, and feels different when Davis Alexander is behind center versus when anybody else, whether it's McLeod Bethel-Thompson or even Caleb Evans, is behind center. It is such a shift, such a paradigm shift, having Davis Alexander leading this team, and the team reacts accordingly, not just offensively, but defensively as well. This defense is still playing outstanding football for the most part, but I feel like, especially being on the field so long against Hamilton, they were gassed by that 4th quarter. I mean, they were not looking like that fearsome beast that was unstoppable during those first 3 games of the season. They looked human. Like, I'm like, what? This can't be right. I mean, but
who are you?
Right. Like, no, this is not that same deep. Like, what the hell? You're letting Bo Levi Mitchell basically walk all over you in the second half. You're going toe to toe with Nathan Rourke, who is, I had to actually double check the stats. Like, I felt like that game against BC, like, Rourke looked good, but not outstanding. Turns out though, like, when I saw the final numbers, like, how the hell did he pull that off? I mean, I felt like a lot of times he was just dinking and dunking his way down the field. I'm like, hey, if it works, it works. But how the hell did he rack up so many yards? How did he get so, like, he ran that game big time. Like, he outplayed McLeod Bethel-Thompson big time. This defense had no answer for Nathan Rourke, and like, this does not compute. And even then, it was still a very tightly contested affair. But the Alouettes they always say winners find a way to win and losers find a way to lose. And unfortunately, that last game against BC, the Alouettes found a way to lose. And tip of the cap to the BC Lions. They hung in there. They took it on the chin, but they found a way to win. So give them props for that. All that to say that if Davis Alexander is back under center this Thursday, and all indications are he will be, you are going to see a much different team that you've been seeing the past couple of weeks. I feel you're going to be seeing that same Montreal Alouettes team that came out like gangbusters against the Argos, against the Red Blacks, and against the Elks.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, and I also look at that Nathan Rourke just game against Montreal where it was, you know what? He didn't have the best game he had, but he made the play when he needed to make a play. And that was that touchdown throw in the corner where I'm like, it was reminiscent of what Chad Kelly and DeMonte Coxey did around this time 2 years ago in Montreal, where close knit game, but you know what? Chad made a play when he had to make a play. That's just Nathan Work did that, kind of showed the world of like, hey, who he is. I completely agree with you on the MOP MVP, because if you look at outstanding right now, I would agree Davis Alexander, because what he did in those first 3 games. Valuable though, there's a guy wearing black and gold wearing number 89 who I think would rightfully deserve that award, who's just you're not like Tim White and other receivers that are good, Tyler Chernowski, Keandre Smith, but Kenny Lawler's being special right now in down in Hamilton, about an hour south of me. But no, I completely go on.
I was going to say that was arguably the best move that, well, actually tied for first as far as free agent signings that Hamilton did. And they made a couple of nice splashes, but I would say 1A, 1B would be Kenny Lawler and Reggie Stubblefield. And I know it's early, and I know Reggie had been hurt for the first 6 games, but we just saw little snippets of it this past Saturday. But
yep,
Reggie Stubblefield is going to be a problem once again in the Canadian Football League, and Kenny Lawler is just. I've said it for years. He is arguably one of the best receivers. I mean, I get asked by quite a few people, who do you think is one of the best receivers? Like when you ask for a top 3, Kenny Lawler is always in my top 3. He just finds the way to catch the ball. He just makes jaw-dropping plays look like, like second nature, like breathing. Like to him, it's nothing. And you're just shocked at what he can do. But you really shouldn't be, because that's just who he is. That's who he has been all this time in Winnipeg, and now people in Hamilton get to see it.
Exactly. And then with the rest of the league, you're still seeing stories unfold. And then from my side, just for you with Toronto, it's been ugly. It hasn't been pretty, but the way the offense has progressed from weeks 1 till now week 7, there is that, I don't want to say trust, but there's that security there where a lot of them know, like, hey, they know what Nick Arbuckle can do, but at the same time too, there's a confidence in there to where it's, hey, he can go out there and do it. It's just like, because he had game 1 was pretty weak. Like we said, he had the fumble set, even though I'll ignore what the command center says, because I know the command center and Ryan Dinwiddie do not get along. That's oil and water. Week 2 against Calgary, there was just a couple silly plays he made. Week 3, look, that special teams just letting you down. And same with the defense week 5, and then week 4, same thing, special teams was your friend. So they still need a game where offensively they can go out there and win. But the defense has been really banged up throughout basically ever since. Wynton McManus has been out, Derek Parrish has been out, Jack Hassar, who's defense and special teams. But 2 of those 3 guys are expected to be back on Thursday night. The latest injury report that came out today said that both Parrish and McManus are going to be available. So is Mac Mahan as well, running back. Kevin Brown, who had a touchdown against Hamilton, was released today, which is just one of those unfortunate, we brought you in because X was hurt, but now that X is coming back, they show Y the door. And
like,
as for
what have you done for me lately? It's like scored that touchdown. That was like what, 2 weeks ago? Come on.
Exactly. And I'll say this with Chad. I still think that had this been a full week, say if this game was Saturday night or Sunday night as opposed to Thursday, even though it is coming off the bye week, you only got really Sunday, Monday, and then partial today because there was some stuff with partial today because of smoke advisories, and then tomorrow's a walkthrough and travel. I still feel like if they get that full week in there to install the game plan after a game, so I think next Saturday is the better target date for him, because I know I tweeted out today when the injury reports got sent and we saw, hey, this is what's going on. So now kind of people are kind of understanding where it's like, hey, either he's more hurt than we believe, or, which I don't think is the case, I think it's more to do with him getting a full week to properly install the game plan. I think that's next week after Montreal, unless they still don't think he's 100% and Nick Arbuckle does play well on Thursday night. But these are conversations I think we have to wait and revisit after the game has been played. But all in all, I'll still say this, and we'll talk about the game in a little bit. I do think the Argonaut team that we saw at the beginning of June, the Argonaut team we see Thursday night, it's going to be 2 different teams in Montreal, unless the Montreal team we saw week 1 is the Montreal team that showed up week 7.
And ultimately, that's what it'll come down to. And again, if it is truly Davis Alexander that is going to be playing on Thursday, more than likely you are going to see that same team. Well, not exact same team that you saw in week 1, because a couple of injuries for the Alouettes here and there as well. Be a couple lineup changes, but I have to believe that if they know that number 10's playing and he's back behind center, the attitude, the focus, the mindset, everything shifts towards him, and always in a positive direction when it comes to Davis Alexander. So it'll be definitely interesting. I'm curious to see Nick Arbuckle too, because I feel like he's had moments where he looked like that Grey Cup MVP that brought the Alouettes brought the Argos to the Grey Cup and won it for them quite handily. And then there have been times where he looked like that quarterback in that first game against Montreal, and he just doesn't have it. So I'm curious to know which Nick Arbuckle is going to show up on Thursday and play this game in Montreal.
He can be his best. He can be his best friend, but he can be his own worst enemy at the same time. Where there's some plays where when he gets kind of in his shell, he'll just start making plays where it's either, just simple checkdowns and there's only a few yards gained, or he'll try those like real 50-50 balls where it's either going to be a beautiful catch, a drop in the bucket, or it's going to get picked off. I saw it against Calgary week 2, and then I saw it 2 weeks ago against Hamilton week 5, where he had some fun with Deshaun Amos early in the game, but then Deshaun Amos got his get back later in the game. It's kind of like the pick 6 he threw against Calgary as well. As the exact same thing, where it's one of those throws we want to look at and go, Nick, why were you throwing that? But if he can be more ball conscious and ball security, and plus with McMahon coming back, even though something that's evolved this week is Ryan Hunter probably going on the 6-game list. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but he is not playing in this one, out with a shoulder. So that's a huge hole at right tackle to fill. You also have David Giffen, who's on the 6th game right now, dating back to, I believe, from the Calgary game. So if the offensive line is what week 1 was, which Ryan did when he chewed them out for, it's probably going to be the same game as week 1. But the offensive line can hold up against the Montreal D-line, which when I meant the comment earlier about week 1 to week 7, I meant that more offensive than defensive. Obviously, look, teams aren't going to be the exact same. Injuries happen. That's the nature of the business with football. But I just meant the play style and how a Jason Moss, with the love of God, grow a beard. You look just clean-shaven. Jason Moss doesn't do it for me. But that being said, just the way that Montreal can attack, because I know what Noel Thorpe is capable of as a D coordinator, and if he brings that exact same game plan from week 1, either Nick Arbuckle can recognize it early, or you know what, it just becomes too much again, and it's just overwhelming. So ultimately, we'll wait and see, but I do think Thursday is going to be different. It's just I don't know if I can say confidently that Toronto's going to win.
Well, no, it feels like all the experts are leaning towards Montreal again. And again, I think a lot of it is, as we keep talking about, the Davis Alexander effect. Like just his presence in that game affects how a lot of people feel. And even I believe most of the gambling sites are giving the Alouettes 8.5 points. And I think a lot of that is probably based on Alexander playing. A lot of that's also based on that first game. As you said, a lot's changed from June 6th to what will be July 17th. So, I mean, at the same time, though, I mean, we just finished talking about it. There is a big difference, and in the team that has Davis Alexander versus the team that does not have Davis Alexander under center. So it's going to make for a very interesting night in Montreal on Thursday. I can definitely say that. I want to believe that this Argos team learned their lesson. I think they know how they have to play Montreal. And despite the fact they got players injured, Montreal's got players injured, it's really a simple matter of putting your best foot forward and being ready. And whoever can set the tone right away, I think that's going to make a big difference in who wins and who loses this game. It's kind of funny because I always say that, the team that stays better disciplined and wins the turnover battle more often than not is going to win. Against BC, Montreal won the turnover battle. We're the better disciplined team and still found a way to lose the game.
Yep.
Again, could just be an outlier. Could just be like one of those rare blips on the radar, but it's still something that has to be driven into every football player is stay disciplined. Don't take stupid penalties. No boneheaded decisions, and just take care of the ball. Whether you're on offense or defense, take care of the ball. And those are the teams that more often than not end up winning those games. So it's just be a simple matter of who's going to be better disciplined on Thursday. Is it going to be Montreal? Is it going to be Toronto? Who's going to win the turnover battle? I say it all the time. I think whoever wins those battles ultimately, and more often than not, should and can win this game.
Penalties is going to be a huge one too, because Toronto's really shot themselves in the foot. It happened against Saskatchewan where they had 11 penalties on them. So it's just one of those things where it's whoever can just, play the right mind of football. Whatever happened with Montreal too with that BC game, I think that was more to do after the game. So that's nothing to do with why Montreal lost. It's just BC.
It contributed. Pierre Levé Stage, that was a very ill-advised penalty to take during the during the field goal attempt by Jose Maltos to take the lead. I mean, because again, it pushed them back 15 yards and gave BC, I won't say excellent field position, but it helped them, and it just gave them they did just enough to get into Sean White range. And let's face it, Sean White rarely misses, and even trying to ice him, you can't even ice this guy. And he even said it, like, that was the best thing you could have done was taking that time out, because he doesn't fall for that ice the kicker nonsense. It doesn't work for him. If anything, had you done nothing, you may have had a chance to rattle him, but no, this just steadied him, and look what happened.
I feel like kicking anywhere in the CFL, most teams have a kicker that they can rely on no matter what. Obviously, it's only 9 teams, but still, the more I think about it, as you're saying, I'm like, Sean White in BC, Rene Pardes in Calgary, Brett Lauder, who went through some struggles but is doing good. Sergio Castillo is a great kicker. Liram Hiralahu, which I had to space that out. Lewis Ward in Ottawa, Jose Maltos, Mark Leggio. There's kicking a blaze in the CFL right now, which, as we're talking, kind of segues into the pick segment. As we're doing this, as always, pick segment presented by Gents. Dress like a gent, 20% off any purchase of $50 or more. Link in the bio. But for this game, I'm going to say this right now: the spread is 8.5 for Montreal. I think Montreal does win the game, but I do think Toronto covers the number. I think people are looking at it where it's like, no quarterback there, no, Davis is coming back, still no Chad. I think they're factoring in last time too, but you have 2 teams right now where you have a Toronto team who's vulnerable and wanting to turn their season around, and you have a Montreal team where basically a win's going to really help either side, just help build their confidence for the next few weeks. But a loss for Toronto will hurt Toronto more than will hurt Montreal. But I think if Montreal were to lose this game, it kind of speaks to like we were saying earlier, hey, is everything okay there? Or, hey, there are more problems than it just was no Davis Alexander, in my opinion. So that's what I was going to say. Montreal to win, but Toronto covers the 8.5.
I could see that. I could see this being just a touchdown game, for example.
Yeah.
Again, I think it really does come down to, will Davis be able to come back and play like he never left? And I think there's a very good opportunity for him to do so. And I think if anyone's going to be able to do that, to step back onto the field like he never left, it would be him. I don't think he has any nerves. I don't think he has any concerns about, am I going to be able to do this? He's not wired that way. Everything I've seen about him shows me that he doesn't have those thoughts in his head. He doesn't get into his own head like that. Like he just goes and plays football. He's almost like a robot in that sense, which is great because you don't want to overthink things, right? You just grip it and rip it. And that's what he does. And he does it so well. That being said, though, I mean, if dumb things happen, if selfish penalties happen, that's going to sink any team. I don't care how good you are, offensively, defensively, or other. Foolish, selfish penalties will sink any team. And that's something that Montreal, unfortunately, has been a victim of more often than not. And a lot of it is self-inflicted as well. It's just simply a matter of pay attention and do your job. If Montreal can do that, I feel very confident they can go out, get this win, and even cover those 8.5 points. But I'm kind of like you. I could see Toronto covering as well and making it a little bit more of a competitive affair because, again, I also think, too, that Toronto has learned their lesson. I think they realize what they've gone through over the past few weeks. They know what it's like to play Montreal, especially at Percival Molson Stadium, which on a good day can be a very dangerous, almost scary kind of place to play. But BC showed that last week, or the last game, that noise is not a factor. And, even traveling 3 time zones, all those narratives that people keep talking about when it comes to playing at Percival Molson Stadium, it doesn't apply to them. And if they want it, it doesn't have to apply to the Argos either. Like they've won at Percival Molson Stadium before as well. They know what it takes to win. It's just a simple matter of go out and execute. And I think the team that does that the best will walk away with the W.
Oh, absolutely. I think that it's just who can play the most disciplined football, who can set the tone, like you were saying earlier, who can avoid just silly mistakes, whether it be turnovers, penalties, etc., is going to win this game. I just think that if, like I said, I think a lot of people expect Montreal to win, but if Toronto wins this game, I think it's going to turn a lot of heads to where it's not so much, hey, they can turn it around, but it's, hey, those are the Argonauts that we know. Those are the Argonauts we expect to see. So we'll ultimately have to wait and see what does happen. But like I said, I will pick Montreal just because I don't want to pick a team that's like crazy spread like that. But the last time Toronto was a crazy underdog like this, they happened to be the champs. They were plus 7.5 against the Blue Bombers in the Grey Cup last year. Which Friday night, Winnipeg versus Calgary, I was going to come on here and say, why is Calgary the underdog? I am done picking against Calgary because I said for a while, like, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I am drinking the Kool-Aid, but like we talked about at the top of the show, I can't pick against what's going to be an electric atmosphere at Princess Auto Stadium Friday night. I can't pick against a pissed off Bombers team looking to rewrite their ship because remember, they got embarrassed. They just didn't lose 2 weeks ago. They got embarrassed in Calgary at the hand of the Stampeders in the Stampede Bowl, which I have to say, bravo to the league for doing that. But with everything with Winnipeg being pissed off coming off the bye, which they've already had their next bye week's not until October. We're going to be wearing jeans again. I'm not going to be wearing pants. I'm wearing shorts right now. We're going to be wearing pants and start bundling up, getting our flannels out the next time the Bombers have a bye week. So I really hope they took the best of it, the most of it. I got to go Bombers. Just like I said, with the electric atmosphere, with the Milt Stiegel stuff, and you have a Bombers team looking to rewrite the ship and kind of silence the Stampeders, I can't pick against Winnipeg.
See, and I don't want to pick against Vernon Adams.
I don't either.
In the sense that when you absolutely need him to, he shows up. He does not shy away from anything. And you talk about that Stampede Bowl, and it truly was belt to ass when it came to, like, there's no other way to describe it. Even I'm like, wow, just what the hell's going on? And again, I know what kind of team Winnipeg is. I mean, they're better than what we saw in Calgary. And you're right. I think they're definitely going to go into this game with a chip on their shoulder, a little bit pissed off. And yeah, I think that electric atmosphere you're talking about, and props to Winnipeg, man. This is going to be, I think, their 8th straight sellout game.
Yeah, something like that.
And to sell out Thursday night games, it doesn't matter what day it is. The game's sold out, which is absolutely incredible. And yeah, you're right. It's going to be a great atmosphere. And I think for Winnipeg to get off the schneid and just come out hot and just show that game in Calgary was not who they are. Yeah, I think they're going to be motivated enough, and I think they're going to be showing some different stuff to Vernon Adams. I still think Vernon Adams he's not going to go down so easily. So this could be a really tightly contested affair. This may even come down to a field goal by arguably 2 of the best kickers this league has ever seen. So I mean, I wouldn't bet against this being like literally down to a field goal. I mean, despite the atmosphere, despite everything that's going on in Winnipeg, despite Milt Stiegel making his triumphant return to the Canadian Football League, or at least CFL and TSN, however you want to phrase it. But
yeah,
I think this game has potential to be a lot of fun, first and foremost, but 2, it's not going to be a blowout. I don't think for either team. I can't tell you who's going to win, but it's not going to be a blowout. That much I'm very confident about.
So my pick is Winnipeg to win, but because it's the plus 3.5, I got to go Stampeders to cover the spread. I think this comes down to a leg of Castillo or Renee's like I'm blanking on say his last name right now. Paradis. There it is. It's going to come down one of those 2 gentlemen right there. I don't want to pick against Vernon Adams. I was going to come on here and, like I said, give an impassioned speech about why is Calgary an underdog? They're the better team. Then the Milt Stiegel news broke, and I'm just like, you know what? That does it for me. That does it. And then Saturday night in a game too, where BC has opened up the upper level of BC Place Stadium as the Rough Riders come to town. For as good as Nathan Rourke has looked, and the BC's looked the last couple of games, I need to see them beat a fully healthy team that's not the Edmonton Elks, who are just, not good. But I need to see that. And until I see that, I'm going to go against them. I'm going to go the Rough Riders on a get back. I just think last week it was like the same thing too, where like we were saying, that wasn't Winnipeg. That wasn't who we've come to know. I think the same thing with the Rough Riders last week, where Calgary's just making teams look mysteries to us, where you have a Saskatchewan team that's looked great all year long, and then in comes Calgary and everything with the delays and everything like that, which I went to bed well before the delays are over. I'm just like, I'm piecing out. And then they played it Saturday. And Calgary just wanted it more. So I'm going Rough Riders here. I think they're the better team in the sense, and I think this is their get back.
Yeah, and again, you can't discount what Nathan Rourke has done. I mean,
No.
as I said, I really didn't know what to expect when he came to Montreal. He played an outstanding game. That's just what he does. And there's a good chance that Jake Mayer may actually get the start for Saskatchewan, because Trevor Harris took a really nasty bump to the head during that game against Calgary. So his status is a little bit up in the air. If Trevor Harris is able to play, though, I mean, he just finds ways to win. I don't know how he does it, because I find his quarterback style, I mean, it works for Saskatchewan. I will say that. I wasn't too fond of his style in Montreal, but he's found that magic formula, so to speak, in Saskatchewan. So, I mean, if he's playing, the Rough Riders definitely have a chance to avenge that loss that they had against Calgary last week. But BC has proven that they can find ways to win as well. And again, not just against these lower level teams, but I mean, if they can put up a solid effort against Saskatchewan, much like they did against Montreal, who again is still, I consider to be a top tier team. Saskatchewan is definitely in that conversation as well. This too has the potential to be a lot of fun. And I believe it's the watermelon smash game in BC as well. They when the Riders come into town, they really do it up, and it's supposed to be an absolute blast. So I'm excited to see that they're opening the upper bowl for this one, because that just tells me that, okay, Rider Nation is ready to travel. They're ready to go have fun in BC, and we could see a very entertaining matchup.
So this game, more than anything to me too, is a show me something to Nathan Rourke, where it's like, hey, the last time these two teams got together and Jake Mayer was under center, I know it wasn't Nathan Rourke for BC, but BC got embarrassed. Like, that was another belt the ass game where Jeremiah Masoli's made too many silly mistakes. Campbell had a beautiful pick six for them. Jake Mayer was just making connections all over. I just think this is a great game too, because you have two great stories where you have a Saskatchewan team looking to get back on, and then you have a BC team looking to show the league, hey, this game's kind of like similar to Montreal Toronto, where you have one team looking to prove themselves and you have one team looking to rebound. You have those like two great elements, but it's just a matter of which one's going to prevail. But it's not me picking against Nathan Rourke. It's me just saying like, hey, Nathan, I want to see you win, but I trust the Rough Riders more right now. That's what this game is to me.
Yeah, I mean, you can also make the argument too that Nathan Rourke did just enough to win that game against Montreal.
Yeah.
It wasn't convincing. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't convincing. Whereas if he can put together a convincing effort against the Saskatchewan Rough Riders, that's going to be good, not just for Nathan Rourke, but also good for the BC Lions and their fan base as well. They're going to truly believe, hey, we've got something here. This is the guy. This is the guy that we expected in 2022. He's back. That Nathan Rourke is back 100%, and he's leading this team that a lot of people weren't too sure about, because a lot of people say, as Nathan Rourke goes, so will the BC Lions. And so far, yeah, even if they are playing some of the lesser level teams, a good showing against Saskatchewan, I think, will really change a lot of people's perspectives of what they feel about when it comes to the BC Lions.
1,000% agree with you there. And then Sunday night, we finished with a rematch of this time going from Steeltown to the nation's capital. I know game management is not a thing we harp a lot on the CFL. It's more an NFL thing. Bob Dice might be one of the worst game managers I've ever seen as a CFL head coach, just because Saturday night, like, you have chances to win that game. You go into Hamilton and win that game, you change a lot of opinions. They failed to do that. Hamilton even said it wasn't pretty. They weren't happy with the result. They got it done. I'm not here. I don't know. I don't want to crown this Ticat team here, just that they're them yet. But they did change their sponsor to Porter, and whatever magic Porter provided is just, making them play better. Mm-hmm. And then with we've both seen Ottawa. They just seem like one step forward and then two steps back. Where it's like last year, hey, you make the playoffs, you win some games you're not supposed to. And now it just seems like you can't win a football game in that when you're supposed to do A, you go to L, So this is a game I think Ottawa, if you're Ottawa, you got to figure out, because say if Ottawa and Toronto both lose and both go to, I believe it'd be 1-5. I'm not sure if Ottawa, I got to look this up to see if Ottawa's had their bye weekend or not, just for the sake of the show. But so yeah. Oh no, never mind. So Ottawa's 1-5, Toronto's 1-4. If that's 1-5 and 1-6 come Sunday, I'm still going to trust the Argonauts to rebound more than I'll trust the Red Blacks. I think if the Red Blacks keep losing, it's just going to get uglier and uglier, and there's going to be prices to pay for people in that organization. I don't like saying that. It's just that's the nature of the beast.
It really is. I mean, as they say, everybody loves football, but football loves nobody. And as much as everybody loves Bob Dice and nothing but great things to say about him,
Sean Brook too.
Yep. Also too, someone who's been able to do really great things as well in his time in the CFL. But this really is, what have you done for me lately? I mean, you're only as good as your last match, and you are what your record says you are. And right now, I talked about it earlier. Winners find a way to win. That's what Hamilton did. Losers find a way to lose. That's what Ottawa did. And unless that changes on Sunday, unless Ottawa can find a way to get a lead, keep a lead until there's zeros on the clock, people are just going to, it's just a matter. It's not a matter of when if Ottawa's going to lose. It's when and how are they going to blow this game. And once you've got that reputation on you, it is so tough to shake. And especially too, you've got talented receivers like Geno Lewis playing for the Red Blacks. William Stanback, who had a couple of great touchdowns so far. Drew Brown, who I still think is a very, very capable quarterback. I won't quite put him at the same level as like a Bo Levi Mitchell or Trevor Harris or Davis Alexander even, but I mean, he's on the cusp. I mean, he's had some pretty outstanding games himself in leading this Red Blacks team. But for whatever reason, it just doesn't seem to want to come together for Ottawa, and they got to get figured out. I'm not saying this is a must-win game, but I guess in a sense it is for them. Like, I mean, just if only to shake off that reputation they seem to have all of a sudden of not being able to close or just finding ways to blow a game. Like, they've got to find a way to do it. I mean, if they can do it against Hamilton, who right now is looking really, really good despite a slow start, they've got it figured out. Bo Levi Mitchell found the fountain of youth, and Kenny Lawler is just ridiculous. I mean, he's just truly on another level. And those two guys cooking, I mean, that if I'm a Red Blacks fan, I'm like, oh God, like, how do we stop this? How do we find a way? You may not be able to stop it, but can you at least contain it? And easier said than done. I mean, I hate to say it, but I think this defense, I don't know. I think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. And yeah, it starts at the top though. I mean, Bob Dice is a great man, but I mean, his coaching record as of late has not been favorable. So yeah, I think maybe I will have to say this is a must-win game for the Ottawa Red Blacks. I don't know how they're going to do it, and I'm sure Ottawa fans don't care how they win this game, but they got to find a way to get that W.
So 2 weeks ago, I post my betting videos every week for the CFL. And 2 weeks ago, I said, this is a game Ottawa's going to win. They're going to look great against Hamilton. Nope, you found a way to lose that game. So they're in like proverbial betting timeout for me. I just do not want to put my hard-earned money on the Red Blacks. I can't do it. Hamilton, though, is, to me, they still need to beat someone before I kind of buy stock in them. You know, like if you look at who they beaten up down Montreal team, beaten up, best stars out Toronto, and then last week the Red Blacks too. So for Hamilton, it's when you play, a healthy Montreal, when you play a Saskatchewan. Next week they go to BC, they play Calgary. It's those kind of games. Even when they play Winnipeg, those are the games with Hamilton where I'm going to be like, hey, how far could you potentially go in November? That's where I'm going to judge them. But for right now, this is a game they should win. This is a game I know Ottawa has to win. I can't. I need to see Ottawa show me that they can win a game before I pick them to win a game. Like, the only game they've won so far was because you played in some of the most disgusting weather conditions ever in Calgary a few weeks ago, and Vernon Adams Jr. couldn't throw the ball, where everyone was like, oh, so it's rain that's Vernon's enemy. So yeah, for now, I as a personal betting man and just a sports person, I can't pick Ottawa. They have to give me a reason to pick them. So for now, I think Hamilton goes to 4-2.
Yeah, which makes this game coming up on Thursday for Montreal all that more important because technically they're tied with Hamilton for first place, but Hamilton gets it because they beat Montreal. And even if it was a broken, not the real Montreal Alouettes, quote unquote, but doesn't matter. They got the job done when Montreal couldn't. So this game's going to be important for Montreal to win, and Hamilton too. I think they're going to want to make sure that they stay on track, and I'm sure in their mind there's no reason why they can't beat this Ottawa Red Blacks team. They did it before, not even like 5 days ago. There's no reason why they can't do it again. So again, I feel for Ottawa fans because they're going to come out. I know they always show love to this team. They always want to support this team, but I mean, you got to give them something. This Red Blacks team has to give them something to cheer for, and they haven't done it lately. But maybe on Sunday, they find a way. I hope so for their sake, because otherwise, as you said, potentially heads are going to start rolling in the nation's capital.
Yeah, because it's not for long that hey, you also have a replacement in house already in Ottawa. Rick Campbell's right there as an assistant to Bob Dice as well. So it's not like you have to search far. So
nope.
In fact, a
lot of people had said when they brought him in, it's like you basically just hired Bob Dice's replacement, and it's when you look at it that way, it's kind of hard to say no.
It's nasty business, but it's like we said, we love football, but football doesn't love us back. It's that football's that toxic ex-girlfriend that you keep going back to, even though your friends say, stop seeing her. But I'm like, damn it, I love it too much.
That's it. No better way to describe it.
So, got to ask you before we wrap up, what's going on around the Alouettes Flight Deck lately? What kind of stuff's taking flight with you and you on that program?
Well, onwards and upwards. I mean, we're we talked about last time. We're in our 10th broadcast season and just loving every second of it. It's been awesome to have the interviews that we've done so far, and just looking ahead to the rest of the season. And it really is amazing. There are still so many stories that we need to tell. There's still so many people that we want to interview within the team, whether it's players, coaches, alumni, you name it. I mean, there's so many people that are still left to talk to and share their story and share their perspective on all things Alouettes. So, and our post-game show, Flight Deck Live, I mean, that too has just been growing by leaps and bounds as well. And I'm excited. I'm really excited to see where things can go. I want to take this on the road. And again, my hope is, I have every intention of being in Winnipeg for Grey Cup, along with my partner, Tim Capper. And I just hope it'd be nice if the Alouettes were there too, so that we can give them the love that we did during the 2023 Grey Cup. But, we'll see what happens in that regards. But, I mean, I've always said I'm going to take this show as far as I can and take it a little further. To me, that's how you have to do. If you want a successful podcast and grow your presence online, that's the mindset you've got to have. And to me, I feel in a lot of ways we just scratched the surface of what we're able to do after 10 seasons. I feel like we're on our way. We've hit our stride, and we just want to keep going. We're just loving every second of this. So why not keep doing it? Why not keep reaching further and growing more and seeing what else you can get, who else you can get on the pod to have a chat about Alouettes football. So listen, if somebody's out there that wants to be a part of this, I'm all for it. And, like I said, people coming up to us even and saying, hey man, we love the Flight Deck. We love listening to the Flight Deck. I mean, I love it. People have been coming up to us left, right, and center and talking about it. And it does my heart good. And I appreciate each and every person that does that, because it just reinforces that, you're on the right track. Keep going. And, well, we will. Simple as that.
That's a great way to put it. It's like me. I'm in my 6th season of doing this show, which started off mainly as NFL, and then eventually some CFL people decided to notice, hey, this and this got hooked up as this is my last season's pass right here. You can't see it because of the mic for the Argonauts, and now I'm in year 3 of covering the Toronto Argonauts. I was actually that's right here, but I was in the building for when Hamilton did win the Grey Cup, and also I got to go fortunate enough to be in their locker room when Montreal, won. But no, the thing is to hopefully, like you said, both of us are in Winnipeg come November. And you know what? Hopefully September 19th, if you want to take the show on the road, we'll see you at BMO Field. But anyway, guys, that does it for another great episode of YWC Football Talk. This has been episode 369. Episode 370 is coming out tomorrow. It's going to be a good one. I can't wait to show it to you guys. But for Cliffy D. Pine, I'm Griff. Have a good night. And remember, CFL's keeping it unreal, and we're not going away anywhere.